Hi, this training video is about how to become a better listener. I know we all have issues of this. Are you a good listener? Strong listening skills can make a critical difference in the performance of mid-level and senior executives, but few of them are able to cultivate them. The credits are given to the McKinsey Quarterly magazine and Arthur Bernard Ferrari. The waiver here is that I've adapted it to fit a particular environment. Good listening, the active and disciplined activity of probing and challenging the information garnered from others to improve its quality and quantity, is the key to building a base of knowledge that generates fresh insights and ideas. Very, very good definition for good listening. There are many great listeners I've encountered throughout my career as a government executive and a business consultant. They've all exhibited three kinds of behavior I'll highlight in this article. By recognizing and practicing them, you can become and begin improving your own listening skills and even those of your organization. Thus, the intent here is to share this information. Focus on showing respect, being quiet, and making assumptions. In this case, making assumptions is a good thing. One of the best listeners I've ever observed was someone who once told me he couldn't run an operation as large and complex as a large prison institution without seeking input from people from all levels of staff, from the chief of security to the correctional officer. It's a wise man or wise person who says that input is gained from the big picture. Part of what made him so effective and so appealing as a manager was that he let everyone around him know he believed each of them and had something that could contribute either uniquely or something to reinforce what's already been said. The respect he showed was reciprocated and helped fuel an environment that was good and where ideas routinely came through the institution in an open and free forum. The leader recognized something that many executives miss. Our conversation partners often have to know how to develop good solutions, and part of being a good listener is to simply help them draw out critical information, put it in a new light. To harness the power of the ideas, executives must fight the urge to help more junior colleagues and provide support. Leaders should also respect colleagues' potential to provide insight in areas far afield from her own job description. Here again, people are creative, visionary, and they need to be able to express those. Being respectful is important because it doesn't mean that you have to avoid asking tough questions. Good listeners routinely ask them to uncover the information they need to make better decisions. The goal is to ensure a free and open flow of information and ideas. So just because you're being respectful doesn't mean that you don't ask questions. A good rule to follow is the 80-20 rule. My guideline is a conversation partner should be speaking 80% of the time, while I speak only 20% of the time. Moreover, I seek to make my speaking time counting by spending as much of possible posing questions rather than trying to have my own say and putting my words into their mouths. The next characters are common archetypes of bad listeners. Any one individual can demonstrate these characteristics at any time under different circumstances. I admit I've demonstrated all 6 sometimes on the same day. See if you recognize any of them, of the bad listeners. Recognize yourself in them and track the results. Here's where you start your self-improvement. It's very important that when you look at these 6 types of listeners, that you identify yourself and honestly identify yourself, which one you are, if not all. So the first one is that when you pick up on these characteristics, it's an alarm. Now you've taken the first step in cure what might be ailing you as a good listener. Let's look at the first one. The first one is called the opinionator. He listens to others primarily to determine whether or not their ideas conform with what he or she already knows or believes to be true. Appears to be listening closely but aren't really listening with an open mind. Instead, often use silence as an opportunity to reload. May have good intentions. The effect of this listening type to make conversation, it makes their partners uncomfortable or even intimidates them. Routinely squelches their colleague's idea. The opinionator. Are you an opinionator? Or are you the grouch? Grouches are poor listeners. They're blocked by a feeling of certainty that your ideas are wrong. May have contempt for other people's idea. Approach this conversation with a necessary evil, playing the good bad guy, and sends the implicit message, you're so full of it, you're a fool, why did you think I'd be interested in this? Through perseverance, people can get through to him or her, but painful as it is, you need to work on it. The preambler has a windy lead-in and questions everything in the speech. It's often intended to box conversation partners into a corner. Uses questioning to steer the direction of the conversation or discussion, sends warnings, or generates a desired answer. Such behavior epitomizes one-way communication, commonly known as a monologue type of conversation. The preambler. Moving next to the next is the persevator. Talks a lot without saying anything. Pay close attention to these poor listeners. You'll find that their comments and their questions don't have any relevance or don't advance the conversation. They edit on the fly and fine-tune their thoughts through iteration. Use the thoughts of their conversation partners to support their own prejudices, biases, or ideas. When talking to one, you may feel that the two of you are having completely different conversations. So, are you one of these? The answer man or the answer woman spouts solutions before there's even a consensus or a conversation about the challenge. A clear signal that input from conversation partners isn't needed. May appear at first to be an opinionator, but the latter is motivated by strong feelings of being right, while the former is desperately eager to try to please and impress. If your conversation partner can't stop providing you solutions they already have, be quick to point out, as well as quick rejoinders to all points you raise. We know the pretender, feign engagement and even agreement, but either aren't interested in what you're saying or what you already made, and as they've already made up their minds. Can have all the right moves, seems to be hanging on every word uttered, for example, and frequently won people over with a knowing, empathetic smile. The pretender. Give his conversation partner an indication he was processing the words, like paraphrasing and agreeing with him. Yet, the colleagues would know he's not acted on anything, or worse, didn't have access to the information. So the pretender is not somebody that is to be taken seriously. Good listeners seek to understand and challenge the assumptions that lie below the surface of every conversation. Challenge them. It's a good thing. Bring out the conversation. It's also important that when you ask these questions, that your demeanor or your tone is appropriately. Many executives struggle as listeners because they never think to relax their own assumptions and open themselves up to the possibilities that can be drawn from conversations with others. Tunnel vision, bullheaded, single-minded, being taught the wrong way by others. You need to change, step back, and start listening in the manner that is conducive to the environment that you work in. Such tendencies are, of course, deeply rooted in our human behavior. It's not just you, a lot of people are like that. So it takes a real effort to become better at what you do, especially listening. So, to lay bare their assumptions for scrutiny and to shake up their thinking with an eye of reevaluating what they don't know, and an important point, can't know. I think it's good that you understand that when you